Well, when it comes to the fact of guilty mind, GM, versus guilty action, GA. Okay, those are concepts. And those concepts in the court of law and to what the law has voted on, and then the terminology, the court terminology, that's called mens rea, which is guilty mind, and is not a crime by itself, even though you're guilty. Okay, but that's like watching a rated R movie. You're allowed to watch rated R movies if you're over 18. That's mens rea. Okay, and then there's actus reus. Now that's guilty action. Now that is a crime. Okay, and it doesn't matter about transparency here. But under that definition, you are guilty-minded as well, which includes mens rea. Okay? But if you're claiming you're a pathological kleptomaniac, that just all goes under whatever, oh gosh. And it doesn't matter. It's still the fact of actus reus is a crime. Okay? And if you're trying to con that, just know, remember, it's real easy to remember one corner this way, the other corner, and then the four corners of the wall. And you can always remember the truth defense. Oh, transparency is what it is. Now, under the truth defense, all your con hustles about transparency would be they call you on bullshit. Basically, that's what the truth defense does, is call your bullshit out. Like, you're a fucking liar. Okay? And that don't work. Because of the truth defense, criminals can't claim criminal liberty and get away with their crime. Sovereign citizens never win in the court of law, but they want to stipulate and say that it helped out. Whatever it helped out, they still never win the court of law of the bullshit they're trying to say. Okay, even though something may have been right about what they're talking about. So the judge might throw them some leniency. But anyway, and the truth defense also, gets rid of all the transparency con hustles. So you can't say, I did guilty of action and I didn't have guilty mind. So it's not a crime. The truth defense gets rid of the transparency. If you do an action of crime, you are guilty of the crime. Okay, first of all, I looked into transparency because they were trying to do open spying. And then the definition of spying is that you were watching, gathering information in secret. So that's what they tried the transparency hustle on, was stipulating in secret. So they were openly spying, and then sabotaging and breaking the block and everything else. And then and then having informants. Because they're bullshit fucking liars, and they'd be guilty as hell in the court of law, and lose because of the truth defense. Okay, so anyway, back to mens rea versus actus reus, because con hustlers try, all their kleptomaniac pathological passing lie detector test we were not both. Okay, anyway, fuck them for being assholes. And the fact is, if you do the physical action, it is actus reus, and you had to know somewhere, or you would have been brain dead. I don't care, you're claiming you're a pathological kleptomaniac and had to do it, and it don't register. You still had mens rea in the action you were doing of actus reus, somewhere in there. Okay, but anyway, so my next discussion is on the fact of VR, because that's why I want to do this whole thing. It's just that con hustle got in the way that much. All right. So, what is the magic circle of VR? Wow, why they have all these magical game hints? Over the magic circle, a whole lot of them. And the magic circle is a terminology to describe the consent form you agree to. And with that consent, that is known as the magic circle, you waiver the right to sue them over emotional distress that game will give you. Okay, mental distress, emotional distress, spiritual distress. Okay, because some of these games are scary, like an R-rated movie. Okay, and that's the whole magic circle. Okay, but that's like part A. Let's say A is the magic circle. Then over here we have two concepts, A and B. And let's just call that B. So those two concepts are fair play and consumer trust. Oh wow, that's like a floor and ceiling CF. Oh wow, they have things like the CFAA, the Computer Fraud Abuse Act. Wow, that's got an FC. But anyway, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, that's got an FC. That's even got an FTC with fair play and consumer trust. Well, anyway, not anyway, but yeah. And then back to so A is the magic circle, and you got witch's hat. And then B is fair play and consumer trust. Okay, so they are not allowed to cheat using the people who invented that game to break the rules for other people. Okay, they're gonna now, what I would do if I was a criminal, and what I would stipulate that would totally be illegal, okay, and where I'm busting them out of, I think like them, so not bust them out. They would say, but you're allowed to buy like extra spells. And we just don't show that. And then these people bought computer hacking cheating. Okay, but here's the thing, is that's a bullshit lie. And then it's not fair play to everybody else. And it breaks consumer trust. Okay, so if they did computer hacking cheating for some people, they are illegal. With unfair play and consumer mistrust is what they're doing. Okay, and that's that. But do remember, VR is competition against other people. And the magic circle is only a disclaimer for the program designers in the company who sponsored and put out that game. That company is not responsible for the people who are playing the games against each other, who are able in that game to hear what each other is saying. Okay, so there might be actual bullying, there might be actual harassment, there might be actual unprotected words that are said on that game. Okay, and that has nothing to do with the makers of the game. Okay, they have disclaimers on that. So you're not allowed to sue the company, the game, over what other people playing the game said. Okay, it would be like trying to sue the state government for what people said while you were at the park and they were at the park. So that's an analogy. You couldn't sue the state government for what other people said to you while you were at the park. You couldn't sue you could sue the person. You couldn't sue the state for having a park. It goes back to the magic circle. But you are allowed to record people, and then you can take that recording to the police. Okay? And then you can file for a harassment lawsuit, okay, and stuff like that. But you are not allowed in any way at all to find where the people live and harass them or do crimes to them. Okay, that is illegal, and it is not proportionate response at all. Okay, you're a bullshit liar stipulating that the game was a fight and that you can proportionate response fight back. Okay, according in the United States of America, the Castle Doctrine states, and then plus with the court definition of fighting words. Fighting words have to be face to face. Okay, so if you're behind closed doors and someone's outside or in another apartment, for example, and you're all yelling at each other, that's still not face to face. That's not fighting words. So, you know, afterward, the police wouldn't really say who started it because they'd arrest you both for harassing each other. Okay, because harassment is never legal. You can never harass someone in their home at all for anything. Even proportionate response. Okay, the only situation where you can do anything to anyone's home is if someone is shooting a gun from their home into yours, and you know it's them and you fire back. Okay, you're actually allowed to do that, but here's the thing. If they stop even shooting a gun, and the time has passed or it's an immediate threat, if you retaliate after that, you will be arrested for wanted endangerment and whatever happens if you kill someone. You will be arrested, even though they started it. Okay? There is immediate danger involved here. Okay? And in no motherfucking way the shit fucking hell is online gaming ever an immediate danger. Plus, remember, that is not face-to-face at all. And in the USA, you are not allowed to harass anyone's home, and you cannot do retaliation, and you cannot escalate the situation. And if you do, you're at fault. It doesn't matter what they did. You're supposed to contact the police, who can then take care of the situation. also remember with things online, social media, and VR gameplay, you are not obligated to report anything. Okay, I repeat, it's not your responsibility to report anyone for anything that is said or done. Okay, if you have the morality to report, then you are allowed to report. But if you false report, you can get in trouble.